and I would like to draw you a hedgehog as a Nutcracker, because usually I draw an animal or a creature that is flesh and blood, and the Nutcracker's wooden. So I thought, well, that's not going to be very informative. And the little girl, Marie, would be so complicated. I don't know if I was up for it, because it takes me an hour to do an inch, and I have to really concentrate, even though it's my job. So I'm going to draw, I've sketched out just in pencil so that I could do this without completely turning my back on you. And so here's Hedgie. So I always think about shapes when I'm drawing. So this is almost like a round orange with like an ice cream cone shape, which is his little nose. And one of the reasons everyone loves hedgehogs is because they have just such a cute face. The little turned up nose is used to scoop up insects because they're insectivores. And we do not have hedgehogs in the United States. And so it was always a fascinating creature for me to learn about when I was little, because I loved my books and I had wonderful parents that read to me all the time. And their all-time favorite, and is now my all-time favorite, is Beatrix Potter. And she had Mrs. Tiggy Winkles, the hedgehog, the washerwoman. So I'm making his prickles kind of fast. And because he's in uniform, I don't have to do the prickles all down his back. Maybe some come through his clothes, but he's going to have the military uniform of a Nutcracker. And so here's his hat, which is almost like just a square with a little bit of a roundness to the top. And he has a little fluffy pendant type thing in the front. And when I was in St. Petersburg, interestingly enough, there's this rooms and rooms of these portraits of the Russian army men, and they all have these elaborate uniforms, because in the field of war, you would have to be able to see recognize different regiments, and some would be on horseback, and they would have different configurations with these tassels and pom-poms and all kinds of things coming out of their helmets to say, oh, that must be the cavalry, or that must be something else. And lots of gold braid puts the Paris courtiers to shame, because there's so much gold braid and beauty in these uniforms. And of course, when they're on horseback, it's even cooler. So I got to use a lot of gold I will get to use a lot of gold when I'm doing my drawing. Not in the book, because we don't have metallic gold in children's books right now. Maybe that will change. When I first started drawing and illustrating children's books, we had color separations where we only had a few colors to work with. So I am not complaining. And now this is a kind of trumpet they use to announce, it could be a king and a queen they're announcing, or something very special. And I think they even call it a heraldic trumpet. So, and they hang a banner on it sometimes. So you'll see what's going to be fun about that in a minute. So he's got his riding boots on, and his striped trousers. And I'm going to show you some different drawing techniques when I color him in. But this is just the black and white going on now. And you can see he's kind of flat. He's going to have special frontal decorations, I guess you would say. There. And when I'm drawing, when you draw your drawing, pay the most attention with the eye, because as human beings, that's where we all look when we want to find out what the creature is thinking. Could be a man, woman, robot, animal. And if it's an animal, you've got the fur, which if you want to make, the eyebrows are also very expressive. So I just would bunch the fur up to make it look like an eyebrow. And then just a few little lines. I want him to look, okay, he's playing his trumpet, but he's happy, so I can put a line under there. And he's also a little bit like trying really hard to get that note. So maybe a little bit of not a worry look, but a concentration mark right there. Just very small little lines make all the difference. So if you're a young person and you're drawing, don't be afraid to take your time with your drawing and think about it. I always put a mirror near me so I can make the expression the animal or the person is going to make. And I get lots of ideas by looking at my face and what it's doing. And also that mirror trick is helpful. If you're drawing something and it looks a little bit weird, you can put it in the mirror and it's like looking at it for the first time because everything is reversed. So it's a great trick to know about. So I got to put the ground line in, which is really easy to forget. Now the hedgehog, where's his tail? Their tails are very small. You don't even see them really. I know for a fact because we used to have hedgehog. We had hedgehog and what was the other one? Pudge. So now I'm going to use my gray to make, he's very flat right now. So I'm going to model it a little bit. You could call it shading. And it's great to do with a pencil when you're first learning and practicing. But you'll see how this will be transformed a little bit when this little gray shading is done, because what it will do is it gives the effect that it's 3D. So he is puffing up his cheeks. I can accentuate that. And maybe those little worry lines, you can see how that's starting to work. And this part right in the front is going to be white. And then also his back, I'll use this. So I can, if I were spending a lot of time on the drawing, I'd do it even darker at the very edge to make it curve around. So this is a great way to make the illusion that something is round. And if something is sticking out, it would cast a shadow. So I'll put a little bit of a gray shadow there. These are going to be black. I'm not going to bother. And he's got little gray paws. And then the trumpet will also that will be important for that to have some, it's going to be shiny. So then the different tones will be much more stark. I can't think of the right word for that now. Now his ears are gray, so I'm just going to go ahead and do his ears right now. I've got this marker out. Normally, I would use my Winsor Newton watercolors. I have little tiny brushes. I have a few big brushes that I'll use if I need a big space. But the markers are excellent to show, on camera what you can do to make your drawing become more lively and so forth. And in the book, the original Nutcracker and the Mouse King, they describe the Nutcracker as having little black boots and a violet coat. So I think of violet as being not just purple, but just kind of almost a hurt your eyes kind of heliotrope purple. So I'm going to put a little bit of purple here for his coat. Comes down here. He's got an ermine decoration at the bottom. So I'm going to show where the fabric is kind of pulling, because he's got his arms lifted, and that will help me give the illusion that it's fabric and he's not made of wood. He's alive, and I'm kind of following my shading lines. And then I have a lighter purple. Let's see what they call this. These are, what kind are these? Prismacolor markers. They're great. They have a thin end and a thick end. The only negative is you have to remember to put on the tops or they will dry up. So I have a lighter color of, this one's probably called lavender, purple something. But if you love the names of colors and you like to look and see, that probably means you're an artist, because even black and white artists, I think, are fascinated by the different colors and what kind of moods they evoke. And some people even will say that when they listen to music, that they see different colors. So wouldn't that be fun to illustrate another piece of music, not just the Nutcracker? You could go crazy just using your imagination. So now I forgot to do the dark purple on his hat, but that's okay, because you'll get to see how it looks so much better when it's got a couple of other shades there to show the shape of it. There we go. And then I've got kind of a pink color, and that's going to give, this is my theory, and what I do with my watercolors is rather than mixing the perfect color in a little mixing tray. I'll layer different colors on. I might start with something like it might be blue gray, but then I might put a little bit of magenta and mix it and make a small layer. Because on the microscopic level, if you had an electron microscope, you'd see these little teeny bits of pigment that were floating around dancing with each other. And that's how you get the vibrancy. And if you mix, it's a different look. It's not wrong or right, but it's a different look if you mix them all together.